Hi, I'm Cassie.
And I'm Mariah.
And this is the Cassie and Mariah Show, a podcast where two long-distance internet friends, that's us, discuss navigating our 20s through disability and chronic illness.
We'll discuss a vast array of topics, including our personal shared interests like the media we consume, the fandoms we are or were part of, growing up on the internet, and our business adventures. And also heavier themes like loneliness of our mid-20s, how our disabilities affect travel and our relationships, and the experiences we share as disabled women in a society that was not built with us in mind.
You know, I have always wanted to start a podcast, but it wasn't really until you and I started sending each other 20-minute audio messages that I felt like the time had come. Because who does that?
You know, we have so many stories that we just reiterate to each other on an everyday basis, and I love hearing every thought in your head.
Same. It's like having a little Mariah in my pocket.
And it just only makes sense to have a podcast. Because every time I listened to your audio message, I was like, wow, I could totally listen to this when I'm driving, when I'm working. Anytime that I have a second of free time, I would totally love to just put on whatever Cassie's talking about today.
And it's like, clearly we have a lot to say, considering we're doing that on a daily basis. And, you know, something that I find myself saying a lot is just that I feel like I've lived a lot of life in my short life. And I feel like that's true for you too, because it's like it's a part of being disabled or chronically ill. It's just like you end up experiencing so much more in such a unique way growing up, and especially when you're born, like when it's from a young age, it's like that just completely shapes how everything goes in our lives, and it also just forces you to grow up a lot faster.
Yeah, I agree on that level as well. I feel like has to do with maturing a lot faster than a lot of your able-bodied friends, having to really live this little bit of like an isolating experience on your own. And, you know, it's kind of amazing that we became such close friends, considering we don't have too many shared interests, outside of our friendship life together. But we do relate on such a deep level to each other.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we had started following each other on Twitter. What even was it? Was it just because of like music and like disability, basically?
Yeah, had to mostly do with music, I think.
And then we really didn't, start actually talking to each other a bunch until the pandemic hit. And it's just like, yeah, I mean, like being in our mid-20s, like being like high risk, like in a pandemic, like it's a very isolating and scary time, and like you need people to relate to. And I think, now that we're a few years out from when the pandemic started, I think in a lot of ways we're still experiencing isolation and just the effects of that in different ways in a world that's moving on from the pandemic. And so it's obviously, I know for me at least, a lot of the media I consume, it's like people are just acting as if everything's back to normal and fine. And so I think too, it's like just being able to be some representation for other people, like helping other people feel seen feels important to me. Like, and just, I don't know, I feel like this is a way to connect with more people and kind of break through the isolation of disability and the ongoing pandemic.
I feel like we also just, like, outside of being two disabled women, we also grew up being on the internet, grew up in these online spaces, and created so many online friends, and, you meet these friends in person, and it just, you have this whole different experience. And being disabled, I feel like, had a huge part of that, is just being able to, like, turn to the internet to make friends on, where making friends in person, like, great, and you love it, but you find more people like you when you branch out, online. I feel like I, speak for both of us when we say that we hope that this podcast can really relate to even just, like, quote unquote, like, normal people, and just other young women and younger people out there who just want to feel like their little quirks and their, themselves are represented online and through this type of space.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I could not agree more. I think it's like, I don't know, there's no better feeling than feeling seen, I think. Yeah, so we're planning on the podcast being seasonal because being disabled, it's like we need our rest. And also we want this to be a fun thing.
We don't want to face any burnout when doing this. I think that that's our main goal with like planning in seasons. We don't want this to be a chore. We don't want this to turn into something that we don't look forward to doing. I want this to be like, you know, it's like a weekly hangout sesh with your friends. That's what I want this to feel like.
Exactly. Yeah, it's also kind of just like a different form of like creative outlet. So we'll be planning intentional breaks and let you know when those are coming up. But until then, you can expect episodes out every Wednesday, with our first full episode coming out this coming Wednesday, where we'll introduce you to each of us a bit more, and it'll give us a chance to talk more in depth about our disabilities and how they've shaped what our lives look like now.
So be sure to follow the Cassie and Mariah Show wherever you listen to podcasts, at TCMS Pod on Twitter and Instagram, and look out for new episodes every Wednesday.
Bye. Bye.